Okay, good evening. Today I want us to look at the trigonometric. And trigonometry, we are talking about the angles and also the distance in between the shapes, specifically the triangles. So most type of triangles we're talking about, they are right angle triangle. Some are isosceles, some of them are the scalene, some of them are equilateral. But we firstly start with the triangles that are a right angle triangle. So today I want us to look at some questions, but before we can go into questions, I want us to look into some information here. So let's assume that we have a Cartesian plane. We're talking about the set of axes, which included the y's and the x's. So this is the Cartesian plane or the set of axes. So in trigonometry, this Cartesian plane, we use it in a form of the angles. Here it is the beginning of 0 angle, 0 degree, and then the angles start going clockwise, anti-clockwise. So the angles goes this way. So the first angle, which is the special angle, we'll talk about 30, going to other, talk about 45, going this side, we talk about 60, and then going to this, we talk about the 90 degree, and then going in multiples of 30 or in multiples of 45 or in multiples of 60, then we will end up having 180, and then going from 180 we'll have 270, and we will have back to 0, it becomes 360. So the angles are moving clockwise, which are the positive angles. So the name of an angle can be any idea of choice according to the examiner. They can choose the angle theta, something like a 0, then with a 1 inside, and then they can choose angle alpha, something like a written in any way. Then have angle beta, it can be written in any way, or they can have any letter from A up to letter Z as an angle representing an angle. So our angle specifically, we measure it from point 0 of Cartesian plane, not of the angles. So we measure it from point 0 of Cartesian plane. So if it's 30, I will have to draw a straight line from point 0 going to 30 exactly, as is a straight line. And then how do I get my triangle? I have to say that on the point where I put the straight line from point 0 to the side, then I have to draw the parallel line to y-axis, so which means these two lines are parallel, and then here they make up an angle of 90 degree, and then this is what we call a triangle. Then this is an angle in which that is an angle inclined from this part, and then this up going up here will have the angle of the elevation. So this is our 30. Our 30 is this way, not up there. Our 30 is here. Since in right angle is 90 degree, so our triangle now is a triangle of a right angled triangle. So since it's on a Cartesian plane, it has the set of x's and also the set of y. So up to this point we don't know the value of y, up to this point we don't know the value of x, but this point up here, it is the point of x and y. I don't know if you get it. It's the point of x and y. So here it was point of 0. So which means our x on the triangle is this one, and then our y on the triangle is this one. So going further, if it's a right angle triangle as it is, then the longest side of it, which is hypotenuse, we call it r, or the radius. So since our angle we know it's 30 degree now, according to the example I have given, so we can use anything of this or any of this linkage to find or to identify the trig ratios, which we have cos angle, which we have sine angle, which also have tan angle. So which angle is that one? Let's talk about angle 30, angle 30, angle 30. So why do I choose angle 30? Angle 30, I choose angle 30 and so that I can end up using the trig ratios. I say that between the 90 degree and the angle in which that I'm using, that line, it has to be the x. So I have to label it the x if it's a noun or it's known, but the triangle is not normal, like the right angle can face other way. So since we know that cos angle is equal to x over r, sine angle is equal to y over r, while tan angle is equal to y over x. So this is what we mean when we say that the trig ratios, now the angle is 30. You see now the angle was on the elevation. Now we also have the inclined angle up there. So since it's a triangle, we still use the properties of triangle, saying that the sum of all angles in a triangle, they are equal to 180. So we'll have 90 here plus 30 here plus this unknown angle. When we add all the three of them, they must give us 180. So automatically we'll have 30 plus 90, which is 120. So we are left with 60 to get 180. So obviously here it's 60. So someone can ask you, say why didn't you use cos 60 sin 60 tan 60, but using cos 30 sin 30 and tan 30? Yes, we used it in this way, but then if we are to use angle 30, for example, we will have cos 60, then we will have sin 60, we will have tan 60 in this manner. Therefore, we will have to then say that it's not going to be the same way as x over r as cos 60. It's not going to be the same as sin 30 y over r. Without changing these letters, the first thing that we must understand, it is to choose the opposite and also the adjacent, or the x and the y. And I said, how do we choose the x and the y? We look at the angle 90 degree in a triangle, which is this one. And then we look at the angle that we have used. Then the line that is there from 90 degree to that angle, that line, it becomes the adjacent, or it becomes the x on the graph. So automatically now our x changes to be this position of y in the original triangle. I don't know if we are making point. The new x now is this side. If the angle is 60, now the line that is between 90 and the angle is this line labeled y in this way. So which means our cos this side is going to be y over r. Our sine is going to be x over r, while our tan will still be what? It will still be x over y. So you see, now they have changed because of the angle. So every time, first of all, look for the triangle that they are talking about, and also look for the values that they want you to look out for. And then which angle did they use? And if you then figure out which angle did they use, then it's gonna be easy for you to understand the usage of the x and the y and the r. R, it doesn't change. Even if the angle changes, but r, it doesn't change here. R remains the same because it's the side opposite to the 90 degree. It doesn't change. So the only thing that changes is the inclined and also the elevation. So the elevation and also the inclined, if possible. So this is the basic, that if you fail to catch it up here, then the whole questioning of things, it won't gonna be easy for you. Let me just go to the question and then understand something as easy as it is. So now we have a triangle in this question 3. It says that in a diagram, it says here that in a diagram, P, which is 0.6, and K is a point in the first quadrant. They say it's a point in the first quadrant. So we know that in the first quadrant, the x and the y are positive in the coordinates. They are positive. So furthermore, where to a point there, P, angle POT is equals to theta, and side OT is equals to 2. As we can see here, this is OT they're talking about. OT is 2. So it is further given that we have cos multiplied by root 5. cos theta multiplied by root 5 or root 5 multiplied by cos theta is equals to minus 2 is equals to 0. Okay, now let's see which triangle are we talking about here, because our diagram is in this manner and then it's confusing or it can be challenging because it's not as we used to. So now we have point P. Point P is 6 and K. The first thing that should come into your mind, the point is made up of X and Y. So automatically the first part is X, the second Y is Y. So we have X is equals to, we will have X is equals to 6 while Y is equals to K. So you see. So let us look at our triangle. Which triangle are we talking about here? We're talking about triangle that is triangle P O and then O this side. So our 90 is going to be somewhere here, and then this is our BP, then this is going to be K, this is going to be 6, and this is going to be 0 in that case. So going further to this one, remember that we have this one, but then it's not the same as this one. We have OT. OT, the straight line parallel to the y-axis, it will be somewhere in this manner. So which means it's not going to be the same. So we are having two triangles, if you can check. And then again, this one, we also have it here. So it is further given that root 5 cos theta minus 2 is equals to 0. It's not part of the statement. Remember, it is the second statement. But then with this one, let us look at the one that we are given here, of course. So, of course, we are going to have what? We are going to have root 5 cos theta minus 2 is equals to 0. Let's simplify to have the single trig ratio of cos angle is equals to x over r. Let's do that, which means we're going to take everything that is minusing or plusing the root 5 cos theta to the other side. So we'll remain with root 5 cos theta is equals to negative to the other side multiplied by negative is going to give us positive 2. Then we divide both sides by root 5. Then we will have something in this manner. We will have cos theta or cos angle is equals to 2 over root 5. So once you do that, it should come into your mind that cos angle is equals to x over r. Therefore, which means our value of x here is equals to 2. Our value of y here, of r here is equals to root 5. But the value of y is unknown, which is now we can find using the theorem of Pythagoras. But then that's not the case for now. So which means, or coming back to original, our triangle, the triangle we're talking about is this. There's a point T somewhere here. It is this triangle. So root 5 is somewhere here, which is this point. And then 2 is this way. So which means, or the 6, it's made up of 2 plus the unknown. T up to this point is unknown. So which means it's going to be what? Obvious is going to be 4. So if it's 4 in that way, it's okay because it's 6, but it doesn't help us anyway. So let's look at the question and see what we have. But before that, let's look at this one. The theta is still the same value here. It's still the same theta we're talking about here. But then now we are having different information. Cos theta is equals to 2 over root 5. Let's look at the question, what the first question is saying. The first question is saying that without the use of a calculator, determine tan theta in terms of k. So tan theta, we know that tan theta is equals to what? Tan theta or tan angle is equals to y over x. In which triangle? In the triangle where k is involved. Where k is involved, it is in the big triangle. Where x is 6, where y is k. Let's see. So tan angle, which is equals to y is k divided by 6, which is x. So we are done. Our tan theta now is equals to k over 6. Without any further calculations, we are done. We just simply express it in a form of k. Tan theta in a form of k. It has k over 6. That's what they want. That's what the examiner is looking for. The second question says, look for the value of k. Look for the value of k. The value of k. Value, there's not the value, it's value, which means the value is 1. There are no 2. So let's look at our example that we were doing of cos theta. It is further given that root 5 cos theta minus 2 is equals to 0. Let's use this principle. Now we found this one. If you remember, we found this one. Then we can find the value of theta. How can we find the value of theta? We'll say cos theta is equals to 2 over root 5. So how do we get the value of theta? We will say that shift, press cos, then it's going to give a -1. Then we write 2 over root 5. Then it's equals to, when you press on a calculator, it will say theta is equals to 26,565. So to 2 decimal places, comma 57 degree. This is the value of theta. So we have used the theta statement given, if you remember, because if we ignore it, it means what we'll be doing is wrong. So if we use the theta statement, we are here. Then how can we determine the value of k? Since we know the value of theta and we can put theta here at tan, we can solve k. Let's see. Then we will have what? We will have tan 26,57 is equals to k over 6. Simple mathematics. So we cross multiply. When you cross multiply, we will have k is equals to 6 multiplied by tan 26,57. So when you punch this on a calculator, k is equals to 3,000 numbers going further. Then therefore k is equals to 3 units. Then you are done. That's the value of k you are looking for. Then you are done with the question and you have used all the principles. Let me just leave it here for just a minute. You go through what is it? Just a minute. Okay, let's go to the next question. Don't forget we have a YouTube channel. And those who are Shatale, around Bushbuck Ridge, Shatale, and the surrounding areas who can come to Skukuza in a day from 3:30, you are free to come for extra classes at some cost. 1 subject, 2 subjects. We only do mathematics and physical sciences. So you can contact my numbers down the line there. You can share also. Then we talk from there. Okay, the next question is question 3. Okay, done with question 3. Let's go to question 4. Question 4, it says that it is given that root 13 sine x plus 3 is equals to 0. Okay, it is given. So if it is given, just use what is given and comply. So they have given you the quadrants. So if they are giving you where the value of x are the element of real numbers or whatever from 90 degree to 270, they have given you the quadrant. So from 90, when the angle is 90 plus, it means from second quadrant. 270, it's between second quadrant and third quadrant. So which means if we find our sign negative, sign is negative only on the third quadrant. If we find our sign positive, it means our sign is only on the second quadrant, between the 2 quadrants given on the information. So you see, they give you everything every time. So someone can ask you, where did you see this thing of giving the quadrants? They have given the quadrants by this thing. So here they're already telling you quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3. So the angle is between quadrant number 2, which is 90 plus, and quadrant number 3, which is 270 minus. So between 90 and 270, that's where the 91 up to 269, that is where the quadrant is. So, and then we know the 2 quadrants involved is quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. So yeah, here we are. Let's look at what we have first before we can solve even a question. Okay, now since we are having root of 13 sine x plus 3 is equals to 0. Okay, let's come back here. So which means, let me simplify until I have single trig ratio as sine is equals to or cos is equals to or tan. But here we're working with sine. Let's work with sine first. So I have to take everything to the other side that is adding or multiplying. Then I will take plus 3 to the other side, it becomes negative 3. Then I divide both sides by root of 13. When I divide both sides by root of 13, I will have something like sine x is equals to negative 3 over root of 13. And we know that sine angle is equals to what? Is equals to y over r. So which means, according to the given statement, my value of y is equals to minus 3. My value of r is equals to root of 13. My value of x is equals to unknown. So since it's a right angle triangle, we can do the theorem of Pythagoras. X squared plus y squared is equals to r squared. That's a theorem of Pythagoras. So x squared, which is what we are looking for, is equals to y r squared minus y squared, which is equals to a value of r, which is root of 13 into bracket square minus 9 square. Sorry, 3 squared. So which is give us 13 minus 9, which is going to be 4. Therefore, square root of x squared is equals to 4. Then I square root both sides. I will have x is equals to plus or minus. The number coming after the square root or under the square root is plus or minus. So the answer is 2. Therefore, since here the value of y is negative, r cannot be negative. I cannot take this negative and put it below a character r. R is a distance, cannot be negative, while this one is a point or a coordinate, so it can either be positive or negative. So therefore, if y is negative, it means sine is negative, and sine is negative in between the two quadrants, which is quadrant 2 and 3. It's only negative on quadrant number 3 between the two quadrants. Therefore, also cos is negative on the second quadrant and also negative on the third quadrant. But since we figure out it's a third quadrant, therefore the value of cos here, x is equals to negative 2. You must show or state that. And then, which means, if we are having sine angle, we're going to have something like negative 3 root of 13. If we are having cos x, we're going to have something like negative 2 over root of 13. If we are having tan x, we should have something like negative 3 over negative 2, which is equals to 3 over 2. Because it's a third quadrant, tan is negative. So it is positive, which is correct. So by any chance, if you can do this, I'm telling you, you have answered all the question. Let's see the first question and see if we cannot kill it without doing anything else. They say determine the value of sine theta. So the sign in the brackets 360 plus x without a calculator. The value, the value of this thing. So let's come back here. The first one, we are having sine into brackets 360 plus x. So 360 plus, get the fourth quadrant. Sorry, the first quadrant. Because 360 minus is the fourth quadrant. So 360 plus is the fourth quadrant. And fourth quadrant, so the first quadrant, all sine and cos and tan are negative. So are positive. So which means here I'm going to be having positive sine x. And positive sine x is equals to negative 3 root of 13. Done. Question number two. Question number 2 will tell you what tan x. Automatically, we have figured tan x or tan angle x up there, which is negative 3 over negative 2, which is equals to 3 over 2. This is what we want, or that is what they want. That's the next question. The figure you're saying, look for cos into brackets 180 plus x. So cos into brackets 180 plus x. They are looking for 180 plus. Which quadrant? Is quadrant number 3. Quadrant number 3, cos is negative. Cos is negative. Then we have negative cos angle, which is cos x. So which means it's more the same as in the brackets, negative 2 over root 13. So which is equals to 2 over root 13. That's your answer. There we are. So we have answered all the questions by just doing simply those things. So by the show of a diagram here, how can you show a diagram? I forgot it, but it's very simple if you now understand what we just did here. It's a quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3, quadrant number 4. So in this one, we know that they said it's between quadrant 2, which is 90, and quadrant number 3, which is 270 minus. So we know our triangle is going to be in this way. So we'll have minus 3 here, minus 2 here, and root of 13 here. And this is the value of x. The show of a triangle, this is our triangle. Good. Let's look at the next question. On the next question, okay, let me just give it a chance to go through this one, review this before. Let's review these ones. You look how easy they become, because these are the frameworks where we have to start our trigonometry. If you fail to understand these parts, please don't hesitate to text me on WhatsApp or respond to or make a comment on the video, then I will get to you attentively. Okay, let's go further. Let's look at the next question. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Question 5. Okay, question 5. I'm not in position of a calculator here, so if something needs calculations, I will just refer you how you do it. So don't be surprised when I don't give the final answers if that's the case. Okay, the next question says that, question 5, if cos angle or cos alpha is equal to root of t to a point where the angle alpha is an acute, which is less than 90, and it can only be echoed in first quadrant. Express each of the following in terms of angle t. So in terms of t, not angle t, sorry, in terms of t. Okay, let's not look at the question. Let's look at what the statement is talking about. So here the statement is talking about cos angle. So we know that cos angle is equals to is equals to x over r. But here you are only given one value. Hey, matata. Hey, trouble is coming for me and you. You'll be in the examination room if you don't want to understand. And you'll be alone by that time. There's no one to understand or to make you understand or explain things to you. So simply we have cos angle is equal to, then if it's root 2t, if it's root t, it means mathematically we can just say anything divided by 1 is that thing. That's mathematical. Anything divided by 1 is that thing. Why are we trying to divide? Because we know that cos angle is equals to x divided by r, not multiplied by x divided by r. So here we're only given one value, it's either r or x. But we know that that thing, if it's divisible by 1, it will be that thing. So it's more like saying root of t divided by 1. If you express this thing mathematically, it will just give you root of t. So which means now we are going to have the root of value of x over r, the value of x which is equals to root of t, the value of r which is equals to 1, and the value of y which is equals to unknown. We can find y by theorem of Pythagorean. Theorem of Pythagorean says that x squared plus y squared is equals to r squared. So we have a root of t squared plus y squared is equals to 1 squared. So we have y squared is equals to 1 minus this one is going to give us t, then we square root both sides, then we'll have y is equals to plus or minus root of 1 minus t. So since it's first quadrant, by knowing that they said it's an acute angle, and acute angles are all in the first quadrant, therefore y is equals to plus 1 minus t. The triangle will be in this manner. Then we will have root of 1 minus t, and we'll have root of t, we'll have 1 this side, and angle r is in this way. So which means if for further information, if we have sine alpha, which will be equals to y over r, which is equals to 1 minus t over 1, and then root 1 minus t over 1. And then if we have, for example, tan alpha, which will still be equal to root of 1 minus t over root of t. So this will be the values of these trig ratios. And you must do this and sample this after every workings. You see, the difficult that we may fail to understand is to initiating or to assuming that root of t, it's more like saying divided by 1. It's the same thing. So every time they will give you that's the letter alone themselves, just divide them by 1 if there's nothing. As long as it's a single trig ratio with an angle, you are free to do that. Then let's look at the question and see if you cannot answer the questions. Then the next of the work is just to reduce. Okay, the first one we have tan angle, which is gonna be equals to, obvious, tan angle is gonna be equals to root of 1 minus t over root of t, which is equals to y over x. But they don't want this one, they want this one. The second one is gonna be sine into bracket 180 minus angle alpha. Okay, this one 180 minus second quadrant. Second quadrant sign is positive. Then we will have positive sine angle, which is equals to y over r. Y, which is root of 1 minus t, r, which is 1. So we are done in this way. We don't want this one, we want this one. The next one, which is sine 2 alpha. Sine 2 alpha is a double angle. So double angle, we look at the formula sheet, we see what it looks like. It looks like 2 multiplied by sine alpha multiplied by cos alpha. So what is the value of sine alpha? The value of sine alpha in terms of t is 1 minus, so this is root of 1 minus t divided by 1. Then cos alpha, which is equals to root of t. So if you simply simplify this one, it's going to give you a certain value. You can simplify it further, it will give you what is next there. But then this is your final answer. So you're done. You see how simple these things looks when you now understand them. Say, hey, I've been doing mass mistakes, not understanding. So now here we are. We simplify everything. The last question, question 6. We are given 2 ways. Okay, if we are given 2 ways in this way, we break it out. It is known that 13 sine alpha minus 5 is equals to 0. Let's break down this one. Let's break down without looking at the second part. If you break it down, we will have 13 sine alpha is equals to 5. We take minus 5 to the other side and multiply by negative. Then we divide both sides by 13. Then we will have sine alpha is equals to 5 over 18, which is equals to y over r. Therefore, the value of x here is going to be equals to root of 13 squared. I'm just skipping the steps, so which is gonna be 169 minus 25, so which is gonna be 144 if I'm not wrong, so which is equals to plus or minus 12. Therefore x is equals to 12. Since it's positive, we are not given any parts. Oh, we are given where alpha is 90 plus. Okay, therefore x is negative. Why is it negative? Because 90 and 270 is between quadrant number 2 and quadrant number 3. And this side, x is negative. So which means our cos, or the value of x, is negative. Yes. So which means it's either second quadrant. Yeah, it's only second quadrant. It's on the second quadrant. And on the second quadrant, sign is positive. That's why we see now we have positive y, which is 5 and 13. Okay, let's look at the second part. The second part of it, we have 4 tan beta is equals to minus 3. Then let's solve. We divide both sides by 4. When we divide both sides by 4, we'll have tan beta is equals to minus 3 over 4, which is equals to y over x. So we will have theorem of Pythagorean again. I'll just shortcut things. Theorem of Pythagorean again will say that we are having 4 squared plus minus 3 squared is equals to r squared. So we'll have 16 plus 9 is equals to r squared. So 25 is equals to r squared. So plus or minus 5 is equals to r. Therefore, r is equals to 5 because it's a distance. So since it's a distance, we only take the positive part of it. So here is what I was been saying all along. So which means, for instance, now let's group all the tan alpha, sin alpha, cos alpha aside, and also the tan beta, cos beta, and let's start with the alphas first. So since we have sin alpha is equals to is it 3? No, is 5 over root 13. Then we will have the value of cos alpha, which is equals to minus 12 over 13. Then we will have the value of tan alpha, which will be equals to 5 over negative 12. Okay, that's the first part of the angle alpha. Of the second part of angle beta, we will have tan beta calculated, giving us minus 3 over 4, and then sine beta, which will be equals to the value of y is negative this side because of its second quadrant. Its value of x second quadrant is gonna be negative 3. Not this one. It's x, because on the second quadrant sign is positive, so it's gonna be 3 over what? Who is r? 3 over 5, and then the value of cos beta here is going to be negative 4 over 5. This part, if you can now be able to understand how we come to this one, then I'm telling you, let's look at the question and see if we cannot answer all the questions using all of these principles that we just figure out here. Okay, the first question says what? You tell me the value of cos alpha. The value of cos alpha is given already. Okay, the value of cos alpha, where is it? Cos alpha, this is the value of cos alpha, minus 12 over root 13. Then you are done. The value of cos alpha, then cos alpha is equals to minus 12 over 13. That's number one. Then number two says what? Number two says value of cos into brackets alpha plus beta. Oh, this one, it looks difficult, né? But cos angle plus another angle, or angle A plus angle B, or angle 1 plus angle 2, it's a compound angle. Compound angle, we express it by identity. So it's more like they're saying cos alpha multiplied by cos beta minus sine alpha multiplied by sine beta. Is there in your formula sheet? So sine alpha is cos alpha is minus 12 over root 13. Cos beta, we just did cos beta. Cos beta is what? Cos beta is minus 4 over 5. So we put minus 4 over 5, minus 4 over 5, minus sine alpha. Sine alpha is 5 over 13 into brackets. Then sine beta is 3 over 5. So you are done. So you can simply calculate these ones, and then they'll simply gives you the value. Then you will see how far it's going to leave you. So simply mathematics here, just punch everything on the calculator, it gives you the value. Like I said, I don't have a calculator, so I won't be leaving you with the final answer. The last one, what is the last one? That one. Okay, the last one, it says that if sine 36 is equals to p, then express sine 66 in terms of what? In terms of p. So this one, it might look challenging, but then okay, let's take time on it. And what do? We have to relate angle 36 with angle 66 and see where are we. If you can now understand this part, then we are good to go. Okay, let's start with angle 66 first. Angle 66, let's relate it with 36. How will you relate it with 36? We know that angle 66 is equal to 30 plus 36. So you see now, we are able to express it, sine 66 in terms of p. Okay. So we will say sine 66 is equal to sine in the brackets 30 plus 36. You see, the only thing you need here is your brain, because there's nothing in your formula sheet that will help you if you just look at the formula sheet and without understanding using the concept and the principles of what you learned from your teachers at schools. So this is the identity of a compound angle. So which is equals to what? Which is equals to sine 30 multiplied by cos 36 plus cos 30 multiplied by sine 36. We see now. Okay, then sine 30 special angle, it's 1 over 2. And then this one, we'll go back to it. So it's because I just attempted to answer the question. Plus cos 30 special angle, punch on a calculator, root 3 over 2 into bracket. And sine 36, we know sine 36 is P given. So it's P. So what we do now, we want cos 36. So which means let me start afresh. On sine 36 is equals to P. It's more like having P over 1, which is going to give us Y over R. Then we will look for x. So if we will look for x, we are going to say what? We are going to say that the value of x in this manner will have x squared is equals to r, which is 1 squared, minus y, which is p squared. So we square root both sides, will have plus or minus 1 minus p squared. So which means the value of cos 36 is going to be equals to root of 1 minus p squared over 1. So coming back to our statement to finish everything, so we will end up having 1 over 2 multiplied by root of 1 minus p squared into brackets plus root of 3 over 2 multiplied by p. Here you are. So these two things are adding. So if they are adding, if you cannot simplify them, you leave them as they are. That's your answer. You have expressed 66 in terms of p. So only p, are done. And that's how it looks. And thank you very much. Thank you very much.